Okay, I thought I would do a special segment here on this fuse block and relay panel. Just for any of you guys that may be looking to rewire your own boat, or this can be applied to a car or an ATV or anything really. So the idea here is the whole issue with the relays, adding those in. A lot of people don't. They'll just wire in, to the battery and put a switch in there and call it good, which is fine, and that works. The relays are just there really for a little bit of extra protection, and they will make the switches last longer. I've actually run some lights on my truck and wired those straight to a switch from the battery, and the switch did end up going out and it got very hot, so and the wiring did as well. So the relays are there just for to take most of the load. They can handle more of the load and last a lot longer than the contacts on the switches. So that's why we put in the relays here. So you'll see I've got 4 leads. 2 are tied together, and then I got a couple by themselves. So 4 fuses, and you're like, okay, well, why are there 6 relays then? Well, 2 of the relays are actually tied together, and the reason for that is I'm running LED lights, so they don't pull quite as much power. So I can get away with that. The other reason is I've got 2 relays dedicated to my actual floor lights. The floor lights have basically 2 circuits, one for blue and one for white. I got the blue and white, so the switch can either be on for blue, on for white, or off. So the blue and white circuits are 2 separate circuits, so I've run those to 2 separate relays. But let me explain this a little bit. So the relays actually have, I believe, 5 contacts, or 5 wires coming out. The yellow wires are a contact that we're not actually using in this application. But you've got the red wires and the black wires, which is your positive and negative. Okay. So the positive leads from each relay are going to the positive bus of the fuse block, and on the particular fuse circuit that you're assigning it to. The negative wire is going to the negative bus. So those are actually, they're kind of hard to see, but they're underneath the positive wires here. The positive bus, let me pull this off, that may help. You can actually see this better. So we've got the positive bus here, and then the negative bus is underneath here, so I've got the negative wires going here. Now, on each relay you'll see a blue and a white wire. Okay, the blue wire is actually the power supply wire going to the actual load, which is the light, the bilge pump, whatever is pulling the power. And then the white wire is actually going to the switch itself. Okay, so these are running over here to the distribution block, and then I have you can kind of see up here they're labeled. So this one is a blue wire, and it's labeled load and then bilge. So that's actually going to the bilge, and then the SW here that goes to the switch. So the switch is actually coming from here and then going back to the positive bus. So I'll probably have a bus bar or distribution block strictly for the positive side, mounted underneath the helm, for all those to tie into. So basically the way the relay works is the relay has power going to it, and then once the switch closes the circuit and gives power to the coil in the relay, the switch in the relay comes over and closes the different contact to actually apply power to the actual load. So, and again, these can take a lot more power than the actual switches themselves. So that's why we're using those. So the idea here is to try to get your wiring as neat, as clean as possible. I did use crimp terminals and make sure you get the right size for the gauge wire you're using. That way they stay on better. There's not a chance of them coming off. And then also use heat shrink. The heat shrink over the terminals really does two things. In the boat application, it makes them a little less water susceptible or more water resistant, and it also helps aid in the chance of corrosion. So the less air and stuff that can get to the wire and the connectors, the better off the connection will be. So I hope that kind of helps explain the whole circuit and using the relays and everything and how that ties together. Makes it a little bit more clear for you. And again, I'll put these pieces, the relays and the distribution blocks, in the comments section. I'll link to those on Amazon. They were pretty cheap, not expensive at all. So hope that helps. Have questions or anything, feel free to comment, and talk to you soon.